So while I work on my little crochet project here, I want to tell you guys about a case that I feel like a lot of people don't know about. This young woman is Eve Wilkowitz. She lived in Bayshore, New York, and was only 20 years old when she went missing on her way home. On March 21st, 1980, Eve went to dinner and a movie with her boyfriend, Jack. After their date, she was feeling a little tired, so they went back to his place so that way she could take a nap before catching a train back home. And by train, I just mean from Manhattan to Bayshore. So she got off the train in Bayshore and only had a short walk from the train station to her apartment, but on the way she was kidnapped. And sadly, her case went cold from 1980 until just last year. But before getting to that, it wasn't until the next morning when Eve's roommate realized she never returned home that she was reported missing. Days later, her body was sadly found in a yard not far between the train station and her apartment. She was found clothed but barefoot and also had rope marks on her wrist, which suggested that she was most likely held captive for a while before being murdered. An autopsy report was soon done, which revealed that she had unfortunately been sexually assaulted and her cause of death was strangulation. There was very little to go off back then to find the killer, especially technology-wise, so her loved ones fought for decades to find answers. It wasn't until March of 2022 that advanced technology was able to connect the case to the killer. His name is Herbert Rice. He was living in the area at the time with his mother, but he had never really been questioned by police, which was kind of crazy because he even had previous charges, but nothing that required a DNA sample, so they had nothing at that point. So he was able to go on about his life and had 2 sons over the years, but eventually died in 1991 of cancer. But then, eventually, investigators were able to connect evidence from a genealogy database, which, long story short, basically Herbert's son had entered his DNA into a genealogy database, which eventually connected him to Herbert, and they realized that he was the son of Herbert and that his dad was a murderer. So yeah, his 2 sons and loved ones had no idea that he was a monster before he passed away. Eventually, Herbert's body was actually exhumed, and they confirmed without a doubt that he was the killer. So remember, the truth always comes out one way or another, and what goes around comes around.